Hey guys, today we're going to talk about the different types of conflict. Remember, conflict is the problem in the story that the character is trying to solve, or whatever stands in between the character and their goal. There's a couple different kinds of conflict that we're going to talk about today. The first is internal conflict. Internal conflict is when the character is in conflict with themselves. Sounds kind of funny, but it basically means that the character is trying to make a really big decision. They're almost standing in their own way because they know what they want, but then they also know what they need to do. And there's conflict between what they want and what they need to do. It's not the same thing. The other kind of conflict is external conflict. External conflict is when your main character is in conflict with some sort of outside source. There's three different kinds of external conflict that you need to know. The first is man versus man. In man versus man conflict, you have your character and they are in conflict with another character in the book. So that would be like Buzz versus Woody in Toy Story. Or maybe if your main character is having some kind of a conflict with another main character in the story, for example, Harry Potter and Lord Voldemort, that would be another version of man versus man conflict. Another form of external conflict would be man versus nature. In man versus nature, it is some kind of natural force that is in conflict with your main character. For example, in The Key, your main character, Philip, is in conflict with the hurricane that is hitting the island. If you've read Touching Spirit Bear, that's another example of a main character that's in conflict with nature, some sort of natural element. The third form of conflict that we're going to talk about today is man versus society. In man versus society conflict, your main character is having some issue with the rules of society. So if you're reading a book like One Crazy Summer, in that story, the three little girls are learning more and more about the civil rights movement and the issues that society was having at the time. So that would be one example of man versus society. If you are reading a book that your main character is trying in some form or fashion to fight what is commonly accepted by their society, that would be man versus society. It could also be that they're in conflict with some kind of a character that represents society as a whole, such as a police officer or a judge or maybe even a teacher. So those are the three kinds of external conflict that you need to know. Man versus man, man versus nature, and man versus society. And remember, internal conflict, man versus self, is when your main character is struggling to make some kind of a big decision. So as we head into SC Ready and testing season, please keep these different things about conflict in mind.